1 in 3 of hungry child live in India. 42% of child below 5 are malnourished. These are the findings of national survey spearheaded by politicians, activists and bureaucrats. These findings are global shame for India. People are hungry everywhere throughout India, from metros to town, from town to villages. This documentary tries to lay an emphasis on the question as to why right to food should be considered as a human right. What should be the criteria for determining it so?
Hunger has no voice. Hunger is the #1 cause of death in India, but even lesser known is the truth about chronic hunger. This is different from hunger emergencies like hunger caused by tsunamis, earthquakes, etc. Chronically hungry people come from families that barely eat 1 square meal a day, and in bad times, 1 square meal a week, all through their life. According to the UN, of the 1 billion chronically hungry people in the world, more than 250 million are in India. That's more than the population of France, Germany, and UK combined. If Hitler killed 6 million people, hunger kills as many Indians every 2 years. Corrupt politicians don't care, but even when the media tries to raise awareness, only emergency hunger problems make it to the headlines. This is especially true because unlike other diseases that affect everyone, including the rich and famous, chronic hunger is a disease that affects only voiceless villagers. Some people argue that overpopulation causes hunger, but ironically, India is self-sufficient in food production. In fact, warehouses are overflowing with subsidized food, but the challenge is that it never reaches the poor. Others argue that education is the root cause, but don't we all need to eat before we can take a lesson? While we debate, the fact remains that 7,000 Indians will sleep again tonight. Forever.
But this is a one-case scenario. There are national and international legislation present which guarantees right to food as a basic and essential component of human right. Under Article 25 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right to food is a human right. This right includes right to free from hunger, right to adequate food, right to clean water. Under ICESR, right to food includes proper accessibility, availability and security of food. Other international covenants like Universal Declaration of Eradication of Hunger and Malnutrition, Convention on Rights of Child, International Conference on Nutrition, etc. are there which ensure right to food. Apart from these international covenants, India has also incorporated acts and policies which, in general, is an attempt to safeguard individuals' right to food. Main provisions for right to food are provided under Article 21 and Article 39A of the Indian Constitution. This constitutes food as a basic necessity of life and essential for livelihood. The other acts which provides the provision for right to food are Public Distribution System, National Food for Work Program, Antyodaya Yojana, National Food Security Act 2013.
And up to 75% of rural population and 50% of the urban population will be entitled to 5 kg food grains per person per month. Even as poorest of the poor will continue to get 35 kg food grains per household per month. The bill also has a special focus on nutritional support to women and children. Under the law, the state governments will be required to provide food security allowance in case of non-supply of food grains to the identified beneficiaries. The bill contains provisions on PDS reforms as well, like end-to-end computerization of the distribution chain and leveraging Aadhaar for unique identification of beneficiaries. It also has provisions like grievance redressal mechanism at state and district level, disclosure of PDS records, social audits and setting up of vigilance committees in order to ensure transparency and accountability. Public servants will be penalized if found guilty of non-compliance with the relief recommended by the district grievance redressal officer. To implement the legislation, over 612 lakh tons of food grain will be required annually and the subsidy burden will be around 1,25,000 crores.
But still, the situation is not well. Reports relating to death from malnutrition and starvation are frequently coming in the news. Experts say that the problem is leakages in the implementation and policies. Food Security Act only ensures the right to food. What kind of food an individual must get the Act is silent on that part. Emphasis must also be on the nutrition. What is the guarantee that the food which one is having is also of nutritional value? And who will watch over it? Reports suggest that hunger is not a problem. The problem is malnutrition. Therefore, the crux is that even if we have Food Security Act, there should be some criteria which determines the nutrition intake along with the guarantee to get food. Though there is much debate on the right to food, but one must not undermine the fact that nutrition must also be an important part of right to food. Altogether, criteria should be on providing nutritious food at a cheaper rate. All these things together will constitute a basic right to food in its true meaning and content.